have Justin. Dr. Zona to present the meeting agenda for us tonight.
Yeah, so most of you know I am sitting in for Dr. Kincaid, who took a vacation, so good for him. We are going to start with some of our new hires that we have on personnel tonight. I will start with Mary Claire Cousin. If you just kind of want to stand where you are, Mary Claire. So Mary Claire is on the agenda for 5th grade ELA. She is a General McLean grad, summa cum laude, valedictorian at GM, and then she went on to Mercyhurst University and was summa cum laude there with a 4.0, with so many accolades that I can't even begin to name. But I'll start with a few. She was the cheerleading captain. She was in the ambassadors program. She was the honor society president, and they trusted her to work in admissions. So, and now she twilights for work here at Food Tours. So, Mary Claire comes highly recommended. We have a really good relationship with Mercyhurst. We always ask them who is their best person, and where can they be in our district. So she stood out right away for us. So she will be down with Laura Carrera, side by side with Laura in 5th grade ELA. Next, we have Mr. Farringer, who's going to introduce Walter. Mr. Herring.
We're mixing it up.
Go ahead.
I'd like to introduce Walter Chevalier. He's going to be our 8th grade ELA teacher alongside Mrs. Brochus. Walter is a 2017 graduate of Fairview, so we're getting him back home. He's a 2021 graduate of Grove City, and has spent the last year teaching in the city. And as Dr. Zona will tell you, I like to go off script a little bit. Yeah, there's awards, and there's a 3.91 from Grove City and all those wonderful things. Not only is Walter a quality teacher, but he's got that special it factor that just draws people to him. And the story I'll share is, Walter graduated in 2017, 2 years later. My son was the manager of the basketball team and got the opportunity to play in the last game as a senior. And the thing he was the most excited about, playing the game was great, scoring the bucket was great. He got to wear Walter's jersey. That's the impact Walter has on people. So I don't even know if Walter knows that until now, but that's what he brings to the table with people. So welcome, Walter.
Now it's my turn. Those were good introductions, but I will not be outdone. I've got the one I get to do. Doesn't even really need an introduction. I think you all may know her. Karen, formerly Karen Summer, also a Fairview School District graduate and attended Grove City College, and has a long laundry list of accolades. But I think the three that I'm most impressed with are sitting right there with her. Katie, who's going into the 9th grade, Colin going into the 7th, and Ethan going into the 7th grade.
So when you go to Disney, where you go just like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then a row behind.
It's true.
I believe you.
I got that. Maybe.
And her husband Andrew there. They are Fairview residents. She went to Grove City College after graduating from Fairview, earned her master's at Gannon, has taught in a couple local area school districts, and we are fortunate enough to have her joining the 6th grade Keith as our new math teacher. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll just take a minute and go shake hands. Make them feel welcome.
He's going to tell you
Look at that. Look at
We will keep things moving here. David has the first few items on the agenda.
Yeah, so the first item on the agenda, Kevin might want to speak to this also, but it's a change order for the high school construction project, of a savings of about just under $21,000.
Yeah, so the main conductors, we'll say that's wire. So the heavy gauge wire that runs from, let's call it the dog house, the thing that sticks up off the ground, that's where all the heavy electric comes into. So from there to the school, instead of using copper wire, for one, the copper wire is not readily available right now. And for two, this aluminum wire can save us $20,000. A little bit harder for them to work with. It doesn't bend quite as easy, but I consulted with the electrician that presented us with this work order change. And I talked to everyone. Everyone said, yeah, it's for us, it makes no difference at all. So it's just simply a change, and our architects approved it, of course, and they're the ones that, it wasn't in the spec, but it gets an equal or as good as the spec that was originally written. Copper prices have shot way up. It's a good change for us. An easy one to say, yep, let's do it. Any questions?
All right, so the second item on the committee agenda is the FMS musical contract for, excuse me, for performing Elf Junior. I believe the performance will happen sometime in December of this year. Total cost is about $1,200. You'll notice included in this folder for the board meeting materials is a review of the contract by Attorney Joseph, where he pointed out many things. There's lots of stuff to take note of that are important for us for doing this performance and getting the rights to do this performance. So we always take note of all those things. This is on for approval at the July board meeting. So this is just the first review of it, but again, just about $1,200 for the performance of Alpha Junior at the middle school next school year. Any questions on that? You have the next one?
Number 3 is a contract for animal therapy for our autistic support classrooms throughout the school year.
That's just our annual contract that we use for our elementary and middle school autistic support rooms. They come a couple times a month and do therapy. They have a therapy dog. They come in and do some social skills lesson using the dog. I think in the past you heard me mention Kimmy. Kimmy was the dog prior, and then she had passed away. And then they had NASA issue with our kids. Again, in our elementary and middle school, and then this contract adds our new high school.
Do their staff travel throughout the school at all, or can kids go back into the classroom, other kids?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
The general population of children, can they also be in contact with these dogs?
So it's only one dog. It's just NASA.
Oh, it's just NASA.
Yeah, it's just NASA. It's actually Jane Byer, used to be a behavior specialist, and she retired a couple of years ago, but she always did the therapy dog. So she kind of does it private, but she does it through the Achievement Center. She's always just done it through our autistic support program. So she just comes in and for an hour session does like a social skills group lesson. The general education population does not access.
How much would it be to add on just for the general population?
I don't know that, and I don't think she would. Probably, I don't know her doing.
That's not her goal.
Yeah, I think her partnership with some other schools are all just special education. I could inquire about it and just see.
There's some other services too, like our high school, Kim Enterline has Maggie, her dog that she brings every day. 3 days a week.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And then she's got a new puppy. I hope Kim's not listening because I can't remember the puppy's name. So we have a presence at the high school. We talked about expanding it now. So we can look at other services for now.
I can certainly look in and just inquire about it, see what she says.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sarah would bring her dog any day, and she was awesome.
That's right. Amy will come along.
All right, so number 4 on the agenda is the ECA supplies bid. So every year we put together, or the athletic director puts together, it really works with all the coaches to find out all the supplies that they need for their sports over the next school year. We compile all of that and do a large bid for all of these supplies to get the good bid pricing. In total, the amount came down to this $17,500. This is just a summary sheet. You have the detail on there, for the details that every company did respond with for their bid. So that $17,500 is planned on being awarded. In total, you see down here it's broken out by each sport or each different account really. You'll notice that a couple are technically, they are over budget with this. We're generally, as you'll see when we get to the budget transfers, and as we've seen all year long, is that it's a constant effort for the athletic director to transfer funds from other accounts that are maybe running low or that are running low into accounts that have excess funds. So it's a constant thing that she does. So this is only not really a large amount for these couple of accounts that are technically over budget this bid, but that will be covered very easily if she does any transfers between her 3250 accounts here. So again, this is overall $17,500 to be approved, and the large amount of details, the large spreadsheet was included with the board meeting materials also, if people would like to look at it. Any questions on this one? Or the next item on the agenda? I believe so. Yeah, the budget transfers. All right. So as you'll see, so we have 4 budget transfers. 2 of them are the first one up here, and the 4th one down here are for just again. So this is the athletic director moving money between accounts to reflect where the expenditure actually did happen. So for travel for the baseball team, because they did have such a great season, there was additional travel that was needed. Then they moved some funds into their travel account to cover those costs. And then the 4th one down here is moving funds to cover the mostly to cover the cost of football helmets and some other small items for golf also. So that's again moving supply amount around to cover for that. The second transfer here, jumping back up near the top, you'll see is for the high school doing something similar. We're just again moving funds around to reflect where purchases were actually made in their accounts. And the third one is really the one of actual substance here, at least dollar amount wise. You'll see it's $1.9 million. What this one is, we received guidance from the Department of Education about how to reflect the payments to the tech school for their renovations that they're doing. So for this, PD has basically told us that an LEA can only pay a tech school basically tuition dollars. They're not technically they're not a capital project purchase that's happening there. So this $1.9 million that you see here is the amount that we've been reporting all along and showing in the treasurer's report as a capital project expenditure, as we've been saving money for that tech school renovations for capital projects. With this guidance from the Department of Education, this is telling us that it's really not a capital project expenditure for the district. We're technically paying tuition to the tech school that then they are in turn doing their capital project work with. So this is just to reflect that that $1.9 million is a tuition expense on the general fund and not a capital project expenditure in the capital projects fund. Overall, it changes basically absolutely nothing for the district. We still pay them $1.9 million for the renovations, just as we've agreed with the resolution you passed several months ago now. It's just going to show that we're going to put it in the proper category according to the Department of Education. Instead of calling it a capital project expense for the district, we're calling it tuition expense for the district. Any questions on that one or any of these really?
What is the $258,000? Why is that?
So that will be the original amount. So that's the beginning balance that was budgeted for tuition to the tech school. So that's our normal tuition payment, so the students get going there and attending. So we're adding $1.9 million to that related to the renovations. Any other questions? All right. And
While you're on the roll, we have a copy.
copy paper order. All right. So this one. So we discussed the copy paper order with the Budget and Finance Committee last board meeting. We had a couple changes, a little bit of a better price we found from Office Depot. So basically, Staples was our original vendor for the recommended amount of $38.92 per case. Office Depot, we found that they were offering at $38.17 a case. There's a small savings there. They're not going to allow us to purchase the full allotment of the 575 cases that we need for next school year, though. So the motion, how it reads, is originally the recommendation from the Budget and Finance Committee would have been to purchase it all at Staples for the higher price of $38.92. Right now, the motion reads to purchase from vendors at an amount not to exceed $40 per case. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to purchase as much as we can from Office Depot at $38.17 per case. And whatever they don't allow us to purchase at that price, we're going to purchase the remaining amount from Staples. So it'll save the district, maybe $150, $200 in the long run, but it would be the right thing to do just to buy pay for the cheapest prices that we can find. So very, very small change from the Budget Finance Committee discussion last meeting. And I think for the HVAC repairs, that'll be John, I believe.
There's a couple air conditioning units that aren't working. If you remember, you were on the board a couple years ago, we went through the middle school one summer and some units that weren't working we fixed. This is kind of the same thing, but it's specifically through May 10 and one on the stage of the auditorium. It's not working, and there's a little bit extra. We might be able to do one more unit. Most of the classroom have two cooling units, and as long as one of those two units is running, the rooms stay uncooled during the middle school. So we just need to make sure that all the rooms are covered for at least one unit. And then I know we've talked in the past, but there will be a larger project using some of the which funds are we going to use, Justin? ESSER funds. Excuse me. And then that will cover part of the cost, and then we have some cap projects. So we'll be looking to do that maybe next summer.
Questions about those repairs? Number 8 is a purchase actually coming out of my office. This is a progression we anticipated and budgeted for. If you recall, the last couple of years we've been investing in a phonics and phonemic awareness program at our elementary school. This is kind of the final step of that. This is implementation in the 3rd and 4th grade for some word study and the expansion of the phonics program at those levels. So a lot of this is based on, I don't know if you've seen anything come out on the science of reading, and just really having a strong foundation for phonics at the elementary school. It's funny because we were in a cycle where we got away from that for many years. Just focus on comprehension. But we found some significant strides in our elementary school on implementation. And really, Foundations is the program. I'm saying this, I feel like it's something to see. I always say that, like, Eric wants to say that, but it is the catalyst for Foundations. So, I hope it's honest. So this is budgeted. This will come out of the curriculum for the next school year. Any questions about that?
This is phonics. It's not OG based.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
It is.
It's OG based.
It is.
Yes. Okay. I just wanted to.
Yep, it is parent
To define OG for some, Morton Gillingham is a research-based approach. Any other questions about that? If not, last would be personnel. You've already met Mary Claire, Walt, and Karen. We have Arvind on here. He's a recent grad. We tried to get Arvind with AmeriCorps, but the timing didn't work out, and we'd like to bring him on as a STEM assistant, similar to the maintenance assistants and tech department assistants. So he would work directly with Brian Bookhammer and manage some of the camps that we have this summer. And then we have some gifted coordinators that would also work under Brian and his department for the school year. And we have one resignation, Samantha Lee. We hired her sometime around mid-year as the health assistant when we moved Abby. Well, actually, when we moved Jill, after moving Abby, Samantha filled that role, but she got a really good opportunity at the cancer center. So we would post that job tomorrow. There's no questions on personnel. That is the committee of the whole.
That concludes committee of the whole. Now, I guess we can move to the public board meeting. So please stand for the public meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd also like to recognize a moment of silence for the Corbin family and a moment of silence for compassion and awareness of mental health concerns in our community. Thank you. Okay, I was supposed to probably be up now rather than before the pledge, but okay. Okay, so first item, I move for approval of the following consent agenda items for business operations. 1, the minutes of the board meeting. 2, budgetary transfers as presented. 3, bills payable. Roll call vote.
Mrs. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Hvac?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mrs. McCarty? Yes. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. New?
Yes.
Mrs. Dillon?
Yes.
Mr. Lyon?
Yes. Okay. We can start with the treasurer's report.
The treasurer's report for the period ended May 31st, 2022. General fund current year-to-date revenues, $27,589,096. Current year-to-date expenditures, $28,316,419. General fund total cash on hand and investments, $14,543,206. Current investments for all funds, $55,494,105. Capital projects fund total fund balance, $6,481,461. 2021 bond construction fund total fund balance, $29,834,191. The district retirement benefit account total fund balance, $768,971. Cafeteria fund, current year-to-date revenue, $940,848. Current year-to-date expenditures, $712,411. And the student activities accounts at the middle school, $3,834. And at the high school, $45,716.
I move board approval of the treasurer's report for May 2022 as presented, as well as the capital projects report, the cafeteria report, district retirement benefit account, and the high school and middle school activity account.
Second. Roll call vote.
Mrs. Hvac?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mrs. McCarty?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. New?
Yes.
Mrs. Dillon?
Yes.
Mrs. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Lyon?
Yes. Do we have any visitors? I don't see any visitors. Welcome to the. Okay, and so the Fairview Board of School Directors met as a committee of the whole, June 13, 2022, 7:15 p.m. at Fairview Middle School. Board members present were Mrs. Bryant, Mrs. Fox, Mr. Hayes, Mrs. McCarty, Mr. Lyons, Mr. Maloney, Mr. McManus, Mr. New, and Mrs. Soto. Also in attendance were Dr. Kincaid, Attorney Joseph, Mr. Namira, Dr. Zona, Dr. Bell, Mrs. Palm, Dr. Skelly, Dr. Nees, Dr. Bookhammer, and Mr. Paquette. Okay. I move board approval of the following consent agenda items for the committee of the whole as presented. Property liability and umbrella insurance, FHS change order, FMS HVAC repairs, education policy committee.
Second.
Oh, sorry. Second, right. Roll call vote.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
McCarty.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mrs. New.
Yes.
Mrs. Goodman.
Yes.
Mrs. Bryant.
Yes.
Mrs. Fox.
Yes.
Mr. Lyon.
Yes.
All right, I move board approval of the following consent agenda items for the Education Policy Committee as presented. Pyramid Agreement, Safe Harbor Agreement, the Barber National Institute EFY Agreement, Gannon University Affiliation Agreement, Robert Morris University Articulation Agreement, new K-5 program for technology/STEM, first reading of policy, second and final reading of policies, and purchase over $2,000.
Roll call vote.
Mrs. McCarty.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mrs. New.
Yes.
Mrs. Goodman.
Yes.
Mrs. Bryant.
Yes.
Mrs. Fox.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Lyon.
Yes. And employee relations, Mrs. New.
I move for approval to purchase new weight room flooring through your contract interiors at a cost of $21,417 as presented.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mrs. New.
Yes.
Mrs. Goodman.
Yes.
Mrs. Bryant.
Yes.
Mrs. Fox.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mrs. McCarty.
Yes.
Mr. Lyon.
Yes. Okay, budget and finance, Mrs. Sobel.
I move board approval of the following consent agenda items for the Budget and Finance Committee as presented. Property tax appeals, workers' comp renewal, Quinn Law Firm, George Joseph Retainer, disabled veterans real property tax exemption, special ed contracts IU5, transition center agreement ECTS, K-12 renewal accounting software, networking technologies extreme support renewal, and purchases over 2,000. That's also marked currently CPA 2021-22 audit.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Mrs. New.
Yes.
Mrs. Goodman.
Yes.
Mrs. Bryant.
Yes.
Mrs. Fox.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
McCarty.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Lyon.
Yes. Personnel matters. Board approval of personnel matters is recommended by the superintendent and is identified on the personnel list to be approved with the stipulation positions be filled only if the program or activity to be conducted as determined by board action.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Mrs. Goodman.
Yes.
Mrs. Bryant.
Yes.
Mrs. Fox.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Mrs. McCarty.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mrs. New.
Yes.
Mr. Lyon.
Yes. I just want to say, during that moment of silence, after that, I was going to mention, so the public knows we are going to have a discussion in our July meeting regarding mental health. I think it was important for everyone to be here, and because of that, we'll do that in July when everyone can be here. Okay. So, are you 5 liaisons?
The other thing is that they've asked that you can reach out to the legislators. Some of them still need money, despite the ESSER money fee. As far as security for those kinds of things. So if you could reach out to the legislators. Appreciate it. So cutting back, I guess they're not going to give us money, they said that so much. And that's what money that the state did. So as they're going through the budget talks, tell them that you still really need money. Just answer yourself.
Thanks, Brent. Okay, should I ask Mr. Lyons? Mr. Lyons, do you have a legislative?
Mr. Hayes, I do not tonight. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Very good. Okay, your technical school, Mr. Mahoney?
Yeah, the renovations are going well, and the Erie County Community College continues to invest out there. They're buying all the welding equipment for the welding lab.
I looked at the contract for Brian and already, and that's around for the transition center and policy for 6, people, looking forward, probably in August. Probably some revisions possible.
Okay, thank you. Administrative commendables?
Yeah, I would just ask that maybe, I asked the principals to have it prepared, but, it just doesn't feel right to do that right now. So, I just want to recognize Tony, who's here, who led us through, say a very tough week, probably doesn't do it any justice, but, to have him on site to lead our team, was really important for us. So Tony, thank you. Shelby Malone stepped in last week. If you remember, we hired her as a school psychologist, and she didn't even start yet, but sat next to Tony. Hannah Kovacs was a rock star last week with kids. And obviously, you would never say it publicly, but Dr. Kincaid's a pretty good leader too, put us all in the right spot last week. So pretty proud of our team, and I guess I just wanted to publicly thank you, and it just didn't feel right to give other members. So that's all I got.
Okay. Secretary's report. Okay.
Like once a year. I have a note from a student that says, "Thank you for selecting me as a recipient for this scholarship. Your generous donations directly contribute to my future and assure me that hard work does pay off." And that is from Delaney Schwab, who was the board scholarship recipient.
Thank you. Would anyone like to make board remarks? Okay. I made my remarks. Does anyone have anything else? I think the board meeting is adjourned.